I didn't pass her $1. I didn't give her my lunch. I gave her my place on the court, and one sentence she could keep forever. My name is Rowan. This is about a teal lunch tray, a yellow origami star folded from a detention slip, and 10 years that taught a city to see what it kept missing. Championship week. The gym sounded like weather, crowd noise rising and falling like wind. I was the starting guard. My father had flown in. A scout had promised to be there. Between drills, I saw her in the doorway to the cafeteria. Lumen. Small, shoulders curled, backpack straps twisted. Her left shoelace was always looped twice, like a quiet habit. Boys called her static because she flinched at sudden noise. No one sat with her. Not once. We had the same lunch period as the finals warm-up. Coach barked, "Eyes on me, Rowan." I tried. But out past the glass, I saw Lumen slide her teal tray onto the corner table near the vending machines. The kind of table that catches shadows instead of light. I'd been the kid who looked away when it wasn't my problem. I also had a temper I couldn't always steer, throwing myself into games like a match into dry grass. That day, I walked to Coach and said the worst sentence he could hear from me. "I'm sitting out." He stared like I'd knocked over a statue. "You don't sit, you start? I can't be there and here at the same time." He swore under his breath, then, "You sit, you sit. Don't come crying when the bench remembers your shape." I walked out, heart playing double time. In the cafeteria, I sat across from Lumen. "I'm Rowan," I said and waited. She nodded without looking up. I waited longer. The air smelled like oranges and bleach. "I don't have food to share," I said, "but I can give you something I wish someone had given me." Her eyes finally lifted. Gray, like pencil lead. "A sentence," I said. "When someone pushes you out of a space, say this. Not louder, just truer. I belong at this table. Who needs to move to make room?" Then look at the adult in the room and hold the look. That part matters. She breathed out, a small laugh that wasn't laughter. "That works?" "It works on people who forgot their people." She glanced at the gym doors. "Aren't you supposed to?" "I am, and I'm here." We talked. Not about bullies, about lockpicks for hard days. Where to sit with wide sightlines, how to face the room, which lunch monitor listened, how to write a note that an assistant principal must answer. I showed her how to scan a room like a goalie. Not for enemies, but for exits and allies. When the bell rang, a teacher swept by and slapped a pink slip on our table. "You can't loiter off schedule, detention." Lumen's fingers trembled. I folded the slip, square by square, into a yellow origami star and slid it back to her. "Keep this. When it feels like the room is a tide against you, touch the star and remember the sentence." She pressed it flat with her palm, as if smoothing a wrinkle out of time. I missed the finals. We won without me. Coach benched me the rest of the season. The scout stopped calling. My father said, "You chose a cafeteria over a future." And the words sat in my chest like wet clothes that never dry. I kept going anyway. Practiced alone, finished school, left town. Lumen kept the star. I didn't see Lumen again for a long time, but other people did. Custodians, bus drivers, cafeteria staff. The quiet ones kept seeing her, and she kept seeing them back. She graduated. She studied design, then psychology, then the messy middle where buildings and bodies talk to each other without words. She worked nights stocking shelves and days shadowing teachers. She rode bus routes just to map where arguments always started. The blind corners near the third stop, the echo points where a hallway turned voices into knives, the lunch tables that put certain kids with their backs to the room. Her first proposal, blind spot audit, was rejected by 3 districts. Soft science, they said. Expensive. One consultant laughed in the meeting and told her schools didn't need feng shui for feelings. She went home, set the yellow star on the desk, and stared at it until the heat in her lungs turned into sentences again. She emailed the janitor who'd once shared spare gloves with her, and the bus driver who'd pulled over to let a panic attack land without witnesses. She asked them to co-author a plan. They built a pilot from the ground up. Halo maps, diagrams of every corridor's sightlines, mirrors placed to melt blind corners, quiet routes, painted pathways that let kids reach the nurse or counselor without crossing the gauntlet of stairs, listening benches, 2 seats bolted into sunlight where an adult is always in earshot, trained to ask, "What happened to you?" Not, "What's wrong with you?" Circle tables, new lunch layouts that remove the edge seat where loneliness congregates, belonging sentences printed on passes and planners. "I belong here. Who needs to move to make room?" They failed early. The first mirrors were mounted too high. A bench became a joke because no one trained the adult for the after. A principal plastered the belonging sentence on posters but never taught staff the hold the look part, so kids said the words and got punished for tone. Lumen kept going. She was not magic. She was stubborn. She learned to run on 2 fuels, data and dignity. She counted not only office referrals, but interrupted lunches, rerouted walks, prevented collisions. She put heat maps and heart maps on the same wall. At year 3, a school board finally said yes to a full trial. Then new members were elected and said maybe. Funding wobbled. At year 5, a newspaper wrote 1 paragraph that got 1 phrase wrong, and donors fled. At year 6, they misread their own numbers. It looked like fights had gone up. In truth, reporting had gone up because kids trusted the system more. But trust is hard to explain to a budget. On the day everything nearly died, Lumen couldn't find the yellow star. She had kept it in a small pocket of her backpack, inside an old pencil tin with a broken hinge. The tin was there. The star was not. She sat on the floor of her tiny office, back against the copy machine, hands empty. Without the star, the cafeteria in her head felt loud again. She texted the bus driver, "Maybe this is bigger than me. Maybe I'm not the right person." He replied, "The right person is the one still here at 10 p.m. You. Come ride the 3rd route tomorrow. We're mapping again." She stood up, wiped her face with the sleeve of her sweater, and kept going. By year 8, the pilot finally sang. Fewer kids ate alone. Stairwell collisions dropped by half. Teachers reported the hallway at 10:05 a.m. Once a storm, now felt like ordinary weather. By year 10, the program had a name people whispered with relief. ClearLines. And a city said yes all the way through. They invited me to the opening of the new quiet commons, a space Lumen had designed where lunch and learning braided instead of bumped. I almost didn't go. My flaw, pride with a limp, still limped. The old bench had remembered my shape for a long time. Part of me feared the past would look at me and shrug. The commons smelled like wood and orange oil. Light pooled on round tables. Mirrors made the corners confess themselves. Kids drifted in small constellations, not clusters against walls. Lumen stood with a clipboard near a listening bench. Older now, steady the way bridges are steady. I walked toward her. "Can I help you find someone?" she asked, professional and kind. For a second, she didn't recognize me. 10 years can turn a face into a version. "Rowan," I said, "the one who then skipped the finals." Her eyes flicked to my left hand, then my face, then somewhere inward, like reaching for a shelf you can't see but know is there. She touched the small pocket of her blazer, the way people touch a necklace that isn't there. "I lost the star once," she said quietly before I could ask anything. "I thought the work would go with it." "Maybe it was just making room," I said, "for the bigger thing you built." She smiled, just the top edge of one, and gestured to a table at the center of the room. Under a thin square of resin, encased like a leaf, lay a yellow origami star. It wasn't perfect. One tip was flattened, one crease soft with time. "It turned up in a lost and found," she said. Someone turned it in with a note that said, "This looks like it belongs to everyone." Around us, lunch began. A kid paused at the edge of a full table. An adult nearby caught her eye, held it, then shifted 2 plates and said, "We can make room. No speeches, no anthem, just chairs that moved and a room that knew how." Lumen placed her palm lightly on the resin, as if to thank the star without trapping it. "I didn't say I told you so. She didn't say you saved me." We let the light do the talking, yellow through yellow, until the table brightened like morning. Sometimes the bravest kindness is to sit down where you could be seen somewhere shinier. Sometimes the best design is not a new building, but a new sentence taught at the right time. I didn't give her money. I didn't give her my lunch. I gave her a place to belong and a way to say it out loud. 10 years later, she gave that to everyone else.